go live on your phone. Congratulations. Now, let's try this again. Let's try this again. Hello, YouTube. We are getting ready to go live for Marriage Mondays. And let me see. And we're about to be live, baby. Well, we already live on. Hey, Cosmic. We appreciate you for joining us. How you feeling tonight? We're trying to get um all of our videos set up because it's just kind of not really working. It's Easter break. What you in school? You go to school? We're gonna be talking about the changes that can happen. Changes that happen in marriage and things that can change. And there are so many things that can change in your marriage. Thank you, period. People be weird though. I don't understand why they be doing that. Why they be on that with me. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta. All right. All right. There we go. All right. All right. There we go. All right.
Go ahead. Talk.
Okay. So this is Marriage Mondays, and my husband and we are going to be talking about changes that happen in marriage. Also, I don't understand. Okay, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
All right.
We're going to be talking about changing in marriage and the different changes that you can go through, that your marriage goes through, and that your partner goes through. And so, like everything that we talk about, a lot of it is like from our own experience and the things that we have gone through, and or things that we have seen in other people's marriages. Mm-hmm. And so, I'll say for the first thing for me, I am a fluctuator. Becky, you put on clothes there. I'm a fluctuator in weight. That's one thing I would say for me that changes often.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, not cut your wisdom. You already gave them the context of what we're talking about.
It just changes, like the things that can change in your marriage. Because there's so many things that can change.
Right. Okay.
You know,
yeah.
There's
So how do you deal with the changes in your marriage?
Yeah, like how do you deal with the changes and how do
the constant change.
Yeah. So but like I said, I'm a big fluctuator in my weight, and I lose it fast, I gain it fast, and it's just one of those things where I literally will tell my husband, like, I feel like I'm gaining so much weight back, where I could feel it in my body. But my husband is like extremely encouraging, so it's like even.
I think she looks amazing. I think maybe it's a man thing. I don't know if all men kind of have that same thing with their wife, where their wife might feel a little
overweight or
insecure about certain things, or picky at certain things, and you think like, what are you talking about? You look, but and maybe sometimes a wife maybe tweak it a little bit. Maybe she, some people's situations are different. But in our situation, I feel like um, you look amazing.
Thank you.
I don't really ever have an issue with her weight personally, y'all. It's definitely a personal thing, and so, but I can understand somebody wanting to look a certain way for themselves. Yeah. So I know it's not necessarily something that she's doing for me, or anyone else. It's something that this is the way that she feels the most comfortable and the most confident.
Right.
So I get it.
And I will say for me that is a part of it. For me, as I do it for myself. It's not ultimately for like anyone else, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it does help me to also just be, a little bit more confident, a little bit more on,
Right, I get it. I get it. I get it.
So those are just,
Look good, feel good,
yeah,
play
I just
good.
think
That's kind
yeah,
of Deion Sanders' motto. That's kind of what
yeah,
he championed through sports. That was kind of like a lot of our growing up. Anybody that played football, Pop Warner, for especially a culture that has mostly black coaches,
yeah,
then that's kind of what like a lot of the theme. Like most of the time, we look good. If you look good, you feel good. If
yeah,
you
for
feel
sure,
good, most of the time you're gonna play a lot better than if you
yeah,
would have come out just looking crazy and holes in your cleats and jersey over big, and it's
yeah,
like you kind of have a lot more confidence from your
yeah.
when you feel good.
I do, and that's one thing for me though. Like I said, I lose it fast and I can gain it back really fast. So it's like I can like in 3 days it can be like a total change and a
Right.
total switch
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
within like 3 days. And so I'm grateful for that because when I just flip it on, it just
Yeah.
be
You
on.
show quickly.
But yeah, so that's one thing for me that I feel like
We going like back and forth, or you just want
that I change a
just
lot in.
you want to do like top three?
If you want to, that's fine.
However you want to do it.
But yeah, so it's like that change. So the weight fluctuation. My husband doesn't really, he don't really care either way.
No.
So, and I appreciate that too though about him because it's like that would be like added stress on me to make sure that I am like always a certain size or a certain,
Yeah.
that I think that there are marriages where people may feel like that, but I think that like husbands, the way that you help your wife is like motivating her to do it
Yeah.
and helping her to be more
Yeah, work out with her if you feel like she needs to work.
yeah, just just different things like that. I feel like you can, with the weight fluctuations, you can definitely help out a lot more in that area. If she's trying to switch her diet, maybe you shouldn't just eat like a bunch of things that that y'all enjoy
Can tempt
together,
her. Yeah.
like writing, just different things that I feel like as a husband or well, in my case as my husband,
Right.
though those are some of the things that my husband has helped me with by not allowing like he
And,
don't but he literally doesn't
and we work out
care.
together a lot too.
And we work out together.
Yeah.
So
That
that
helps
makes
too.
it
Easy.
easier.
Yeah.
And I've never had a man that I can work out with. I appreciate that.
For sure. For sure.
You won.
For sure.
But yeah, so that's like one of the things that I feel like changes a lot for me is my weight. And I'm like very like I notice it because like I said, I fluctuate so fast, I notice it. And I talk about it a lot, but my husband be like, girl, come here.
I listen because she my homie, so I don't never like not listen or feel like I ain't trying to hear that. Like, because it's really at the end of the day, it's my friend.
Yeah.
So in order for me to give sound advice, I have to be conscious and be engaged in the conversation for me to be able to respond in a way that's going to be
Thank you.
impactful. So
right.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of a lot of communication is listening.
Yeah. So for what do you feel like is something that has like changed in our marriage, like a dynamic or
That shifted
or
since,
something that has shifted since we like first got married, something that has changed?
What sticks out to me first is the way that we deal with conflict.
Yeah.
Has definitely elevated.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like very early on it was very difficult for us to be at odds with one another.
Yeah.
Because it was a very uncomfortable space for us to be in.
Yeah.
I feel like now that we kind of went through more conflict, we have a better understanding of each other. One, we have created ways to deal with the conflict.
Yeah.
Hold on, we hear some kids being loud.
We heard some kids be Journey, relax.
Okay, they cool. They ain't fighting out here or crying. Okay, so
Jesus.
yeah, so I feel like the way that we deal with conflict has definitely elevated um,
Yeah, that's one of
as
the. I
grown
think that's one
for
of like
sure.
the biggest things. I feel like when
Cause it
we
used to be,
first.
yeah, it used to be like very awkward when we used
Yeah.
to argue.
I mean, it's still kind of like off, like we because we're like really like best friends.
Yeah,
So it's like it do still kind of be off, but I feel like we handle it much better. Like we can
right,
communicate through it much better.
right.
I'm learning for sure to communicate through it much better. And I feel like y'all, I feel like it's so much that God has been showing me like that I'm growing so many ways that God is showing me that I've been growing lately
Right.
is like it's really amazing because whew, yeah, cuz I feel like I used to kind of like spiral a little bit.
Mm.
And I get like extremely I'll overthink or just and oh, you know what, but one of the things that I would say, sorry to kind of switch it up, but
No, you
Jesus,
good.
that just came to me so good, was one of the things that I would say that was like kind of negative that we had to go through was my career change,
Yeah,
and you having to help me get through
yeah, that was a
the
big one.
mental the battles that I was going
Mm.
through mentally
I got a question
to
for
transition.
before, not to cut her wisdom. Stay on that point, babe. Um, have you guys went through any changes as a couple? If you're watching, if you have, what are some of the changes and how did you deal with them? That's kind of like, I guess,
Yeah,
you gotta
that's
start giving
good.
them things to
Oh,
reflect on and
yeah,
kind of if they can respond back. 'Cause that's the conversation we have. And if you're new to the
yeah.
conversation, if you have any changes, so if you've been with someone
Thank you.
married or have been with someone for a long period of time, what are some changes, good or bad, that you have experienced in that? How have you grown? Or how has the other person not grown? Or how have you not grown? Or vice versa, you know? But we're just trying to figure out how do you deal with the changes in those different type of relationships? What are some of the things that you help, well, the, some of the things that you've had to communicate to the other, to your couple, to allow him to allow you to grow or her to allow you to grow,
Mm.
or just yeah, we're just having that type of conversation. So you got anything
I
to
think
tap in with?
in some relationships though, it's like because I've been in a relationship where I feel like I was growing and the other person wasn't,
Yeah,
and so I feel like that's even
yeah, that's a
that
change.
is
That's a change.
yeah, that
Yeah,
is something that happens, and it's also okay to
yeah,
outgrow people.
yeah.
It's also okay to outgrow seasons, but in a
But how do
marriage,
you like deal with that? Like if you feel like you've outgrown your husband or wife, like how do you like seek therapy or do you what type of conversations do you have? Like is it uncomfortable like or is it have you had a conversation where you empowered him and that conversation
yeah,
has shifted the way he or she is now elevating or growing in
seeing
their own
themselves, yeah.
individual
I think
purposes and
I feel
things
like
like that?
it's definitely for me the encouragement and
Mm-hmm.
just being more I guess like verbal about
When we tweaking.
yeah.
Yeah, not
Cuz
not really
I mean
not really allowing you to stay in that mindset,
yeah.
or like allowing you to like giving you the space, of
Or
course, but
inviting you to even like do some of the things that I'm doing like
yeah, yeah,
invitation like I
yeah,
feel like is you know a way that you can help your spouse grow in some of the ways that you're growing too as well. Like
I
go
think
ahead.
what you were saying, not to cut your
Oh,
wisdom, but I feel like what you were saying before I was asking chat,
oh, the business.
yeah, about
Yeah.
that was the way that things had to shift almost. Yeah, shifted down, then lateral, then up.
Yeah.
So it was a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
different changes with the career.
yeah.
So you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah. But you know what, too, understanding that your spouse may have to grieve some things.
Mm.
And because I felt like when I was transitioning um from being a stylist that I didn't really give myself time to grieve. And
Grieve meaning
grieved
like
like being in that position, like the position that I was in.
okay,
I feel like I just kind of was like, I was in it, so I was constantly like moving.
Right,
I
right.
was constantly like, just okay, we shifting here, we shifting here. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We had a lot going on.
Yeah.
We had just got married. It was like so many different,
Hmm.
changes, so many different things going on. You moving
I
down
think you shifted
here.
before we got married, though, didn't
I mean, I was shifting before we got married, but I was still working
you?
some.
Yeah, yeah,
I was still working some.
yeah,
I really like completely stopped like like a couple months after we got married because I got pregnant with Journey. Remember?
yeah. But you weren't doing hair then, were you? Yeah,
Yes,
you were doing hair
yes,
at the house. You was. Yeah, you definitely had
yes.
clients coming to the crib.
Yeah, I was still doing
Yeah,
hair, but
yeah.
it's like I had to grieve.
You was pushing through it though.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it was like, but it was so hard because it's like I'm used to all this business. I'm used to talking to my clients. I'm used to encouraging people. I'm used to these things, and it's been my life.
Right. Right.
It's been my life, and it's like, okay, I've been doing this for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and then to feel like I have to give something up, and not because I was ready to, because I was like forced and
No, for sure,
transitioned
for
into
sure,
it.
for sure.
So it was like going through that mentally. I really appreciated like your help, the way that you helped me just kind of like get over some of the things that I was facing. And it's like you help by your positive reaction towards my negative reaction,
Right.
because it was very negative. It was not I didn't have a positive I,
Outlook.
I didn't have a positive outlook after, and I just kind of feel like it's because I like things a certain way, and I like to be on top of things, and it's just like this,
She likes her bills paid months in advance.
and it's just it
And was
was
used to that. I wasn't. I'm not used to that. So I say that because it was something new to me. I've never really seen anybody pay that many months in advance on some of the bills that she used to be paying. Like even her rent, like a lot of this stuff was. I'm like, dang, I'm like, wow. I guess that is a better way to kind of do that.
to move,
Yeah,
and it's just like I felt like I would never go out of town without like making sure that things are taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so to go through that circumstance where it's like I'm used to being this way and I'm used to doing things this way,
Mm-hmm.
and then to feel like it's being like stripped from me.
Right.
Every day I'm working less and less. Like
Right.
every day I'm taking like telling people like more and more like I can only do like one head today. I remember like my hands being so like they were hurting me
Swollen.
so bad, like they were so big.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I'm really not. And I remember it was we were in Chicago, and you had ran me a bath, and and just like the candles and just everything, and I just like remember I was in there for like hours, and I just cried, and I was like I didn't realize like how much I had just kept moving,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't just like actually grieve and like sit like, okay, my life is changing right now. And I have to be able to like take this
Pivot.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. Pivot.
And understand that like I'm shifting and I'm doing this, and I'm like, it's different. Like, and so it's like, and that goes back to like that the word of God where it just says like, I'm doing a new thing. Can you not perceive it? And so it's just like, even though it may look like to me, to my natural eye, like everything is being taken away from me. Like, but there were still so many blessings in that that helped that situation still not be as bad as it could have been. I mean, even just how close we got going through it, and just the more you got to see me become more transparent and more vulnerable, and just like more open. And it's like, because I still feel like I hadn't sat with it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I hadn't sat with it, and I just kind of like, we just kept moving through because we had so much going on. At the time, I was starting new businesses. You was coming here. We was traveling back and forth. We had the kids. That it was just like it was a lot. Then when I got pregnant with Journey, it was just like it was so much, and I had not had the time to just like stop and really just be like, okay, things are changing, and this is my life. Like even just still, like us being able to sit and like lean in on our marriage, like just.
I don't think we really fully have the opportunity to really sit down and reflect on our marriage yet. Even our dating, like, because like you said, things just one after
It
the
was
other.
it was so fast.
And
Everything
it's
was
still
moving.
now it's still constant. Like,
Yeah.
everything is still shifting, and it's still like I don't even remember the last time we really sat down and looked at our marriage photos or even like put like we still got old pictures. We ain't even got nothing printed off.
We haven't even
Like
looked at
it's
some
so
of the
like
stuff. Like
so it's still so like it's so yeah it's very much it's very much
we haven't just taken the time. So it's like when you in it, it's like you have to be able to take that moment of reflection. And it's like I talk about that all the time because it's just like we don't reflect. We do not reflect. And I think that's something that we have to just do more often. Just really appreciate, the moment, taking the 20 minutes at the end of the day and just really reflecting over your day. Some things that you could have changed, some things that you weren't happy with, the circumstance, the outcome, how long you stayed in a certain mood that you didn't want to stay in, and how could you do better, or some things that you noticed. Like if I hadn't reflected today, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to see my growth. Like as much
you
as
definitely grown. I feel like that definitely would have been like a difficult day
ooh,
for you,
baby,
having processed that, and you thinking about the money and just all of the things that you spiral. You see yourself just down a rabbit hole.
With my mind, just the mind can really take you down into a place in a space where it really can get dark. It really can get ugly. So it's like reflecting today, I was able to see like, girl, you did that. And I thank you for your encouragement too.
For sure.
You always encourage me, and I thank you for that because I be needing it.
That's what we here for.
And I know it's like, and you know how like it's just like some people feel like it's just because you're my husband, or just because that you encourage me, like just because you're my husband, like you're my spouse, like.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but no, like it's real, it's genuine, and I appreciate
a lot of we see a lot of couples in competition with each other.
Yeah.
Like a lot of couples, it's hard for them to be happy and support one another because they're looking at each other like this in competition.
Yeah.
It's really that. Like they don't want to see them do that well because it might make them feel some type of way.
That's true.
It's a sick world, man. It's a sick world. Let me try to think of something that
you have changed with.
The biggest thing that I've shifted throughout these years of us being married, I would say, would be it's a lot of things. A spiritual shift, it's parental. I would probably say like my grace for others.
Yeah. That's huge for you.
I would probably say that's probably been the biggest thing. My wardrobe, of course. If you want to say like, okay, let's go materialistic, right? Because I think that's a little more. We'll go flesh.
I feel like that's a bigger change for you.
Yeah, so
I'm
a very materialistic. I was a very. I wouldn't even say materialistic. I just like to buy it. I like to spend money on things that I wanted. I just didn't buy stuff just to buy stuff. I felt like there's a lot of stuff that I would spend money on. So, and a lot of it was not even necessarily for myself. I used to spend a lot of like most of it was for the kids for the most part. I used to whatever they wanted, Yeezys. StockX was getting a lot of my money back then, and so Yeah, so I say that to say I have learned to live with less. I have learned to budget more. I've learned the beauty of saving money,
Mm-hmm.
investing money. So I've learned that this necessary. I was more, and when I say my wardrobe, 'cause I wore a lot of, I bought a lot of shoes. I felt like I had to wear a different pair of shoes every day. I always wore buying different sweatpants, hoodies. So when I say wardrobe, it's not like I'm out here buying Balenciaga and Gucci, and that's not my wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very yeah, I'm
Chill.
simple. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
chill for the most part, but I'm clean, right? So that's kind of like I would say my aesthetic, right? And so throughout like I came like when we got married, I had like upward almost like 20 pairs of shoes, like and that's shoes that I just brought with me. That's not the shoes that I gave my son before I left,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I got here when we moved to Tennessee, and the stuff started shifting and changing, and I didn't really want my wardrobe to be affected by that. And I'm looking at myself like, wait, so do I try to keep up with this or just like? And then I'm looking. My wife is looking at like, bro, she half the time she don't know what I got on. So I'm like, okay, this is she can care less really. As long as I'm pretty much I ain't looking crazy. She don't. It's not like I'm trying to get dressed to impress nobody no more,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm not. So my wife is very content with me and my wife really likes the way I look in business suits and casual clothing and stuff like that. So the stuff I wear every day, Nikes and Jordans and New Balances and stuff like that, it wasn't really just financially making sense at the time, and I had to really get a better understanding of what's important when it
Mm-hmm.
came to spending money. And I was very, even when it comes to materialistic, when I say materialistic, I meant more so I was a bad spender.
Yeah.
And so even when it came so we have teenage boys, we have an 18 and a 17-year-old, and they've been playing AAU basketball since they've been 5. And I've been funding that for a long time. So I've been since like I said, since they've been 5 years old, they've been in basketball, and they started AAU very early, around 7, 8, and so even when it came to AAU, when it came to them playing every season in basketball shoes, and they were playing football, and it was just so the older they got and the more talented they got, I'm looking at even the AAU circuit like I don't even think this like what am I doing here? Like what are we
Yeah.
spending money for here? Like where is it
Is it really
really
helping?
helping, or am I doing it just because they asking for
Yeah.
it? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like like so I really had to get a deep understanding of where my dollar is going. Um,
Just being more
how is
intentional.
it, yeah, and being very intentional, like really putting my money to work for real,
Yeah.
and not feeling like I gotta go spend it as soon as I get it,
Yeah.
and just because I'm gonna make it right back. Like that was my mentality,
Yeah.
and so I would say that naturally, I probably say grace.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably get in that if we got enough time, but I would say just more from just like a simple basis, like just the way I spent money was
Mm-hmm.
a tremendous change from when we
Yeah.
got
I
married
agree.
until now, because it's like honestly I don't remember the last time I went shopping, and while we were dating before we got married, I'm buying
It's
shoes
just
probably like every week
yeah.
maybe. If it ain't for me, it's probably for the boys, or if it ain't for the boys, it's for Jaja,
Yeah.
or so I was constantly spending money and didn't even think about the investment side
Yeah.
of what I was doing with my money. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But no, that is a big change,
yeah,
and I think I bet, cause baby, ooh, that spend it, that get it and spend it, no, spend it and get it right back
yeah,
mentality. It really
yeah.
have you just
I used to blow a bag now. I blow
out
a
here
bag.
just spending money and
And really money that we don't have, to be
yeah,
honest, because you're not able. There's a couple rules when it comes to spending and buying
yes,
things, and
yes,
I think a good rule is if you're not able to buy it 3 times and you're really not able to afford it.
Right.
If you're not able to maintain it, you're not able to afford it. So it's just there's so many rules around spending to where it's like if it don't make sense, bro, it don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, and you just gotta stay within your means.
Yeah.
Live within your means. I would
Yeah.
say that's one of the biggest financial gems that you can have, especially now.
Yeah.
Is
It's different because it's like we both are transitioning and growing and learning, and then we're learning each other, and
right.
you know, and it's just like so many changes that has truly happened. But I really feel like we've done a great job with shifting and transitioning and
Supporting each other.
You just knowing when to be there to support and when to take that back seat, you know, when it's because there's times when I'm just like, okay, I just gotta support my husband in this season, and there's times we like, babe, I got you.
Right.
You know, is necessary to understand and know when you're needed in the front and when you're needed to be a supporter. You know, and an encourager, because you need
best
it.
Leaders have been the best soldiers.
Yeah, and you need it sometimes, especially. Telling you that time I was going through, like my mind was, whew, it was tough. Yeah. And my husband seen me.
it was different for me, and probably we're on live because we want to have an open forum. We want people to be able to give questions and to be able to give us some feedback if necessary. So we don't really see any questions, so we're gonna kind of wrap it up here.
Yeah.
But what was the comment you just made?
About I just forgot.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Oh,
but no, I just wanted to, for them to understand too that
I'm starting to get sleepy.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I lost that last thought, but I just wanted to make sure that they understood that we have.
Oh, knowing. I think it was about like knowing when to support and when not to support. You talked about leadership, and then.
It was okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Knowing when to lead.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I forgot to turn the thought, but it was along that line though. But yeah, just definitely shift with each other.
Don't blame each other. Work together.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot blame.
And change is inevitable. Like we all change.
Yes.
Like, that's something that is going to be a consistent constant in y'all life.
It's change.
Change. So don't like shy away from it. I would embrace it and continue to learn to support each other through that. Like, and it's like so many changes that we can go through, and we're not gonna sit here and go through them all, but yeah. So
we've been through a lot.
We've been through a lot. Yeah, we definitely
moving different states. You coming here, leaving the kids.
So long distance relationships,
long distance, the celibacy, just everything. It's so many different changes. The pregnancy,
and it was unexpected pregnancy too.
Yeah.
Not to mention that.
And the financial shift, the just all the career change, just everything. I feel like we've done really well with supporting each other and growing together. That is very important. Growing together with your mate and with your spouse, and not just existing. I feel like there are a lot of relationships where people just exist and they don't actually grow together as a collective. And I think that that's something that's extremely important, is growth. Like, just like you said about change, we should always be growing in some form, in some aspect of our lives.
I agree.
And so, like you said, change is consistent. You're either going to be going into a change or coming out of a change, or you know, it's you know, or preparing for a change. Like it's never just the same.
Right.
Like that's what we was talking about earlier. It's like every day that you wake up, you're faced with something. Every day. that you wake up, you're going to be faced with something. Something is going to come up. That's why the Bible tells us, like, not to take thought for tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to hold its own. Tomorrow has its own problems, its own issues. So I don't know what I'm going to face tomorrow, but I'm going to let tomorrow hold that. I catch you on the flip side, you know. But it's just
That's good.
being open enough to know that things are going to change. My husband may not always be this athletic. My husband, you know, I mean, I'm getting a lot of gray hair. I mean, you know, I like I said, I fluctuate in my weight a lot. So it's just like, it's not always going to be how it is. We may lose some family members that may cost, cost us to go down a pathway of, you know,
Some lonely days.
yeah. And it may just be like, okay, how do I help them get back to this space? How do I support them throughout this time? How do I what's my position to be during this time of grief for them? You know, and it's like one thing that I learned I went to this women's retreat, and amazing, life changing. But one of the things that was said that really stuck with me was there was a question that was asked, and um it was about we probably have to talk about that on one of these.
Yeah. It's a topic.
Yeah, so but the question, it proposed the answer that first you have to ask, am I supposed to be in this marriage? And if the answer is yes, then the next question that you have to ask is, how do I deal with it? How do I deal with it? If I'm supposed to be here, which means that you are equipped to deal with whatever the situation is. You are, grace for it. So that means that what can you do? So instead of putting it on your partner, what they need to do to change, how do you deal with the changes that's happening? And so I think like that's something that always stuck with me, and I feel like it's really important to be able to look at yourself in it, because it's like, I'm with this person, I'm here. Am I really willing to, go through every season with them? In the season where I'm in, where I may not like, but well, we actually like each other, so we don't know what the future holds, But I pray that we can always have this, admiration for each other, and support and all those good things, because it gets hard. It does get hard. Things happen, but yeah, just being able to reflect on yourself and not on what your spouse needs to do to change. What can I do to in during the change, in the change, to help them either be better, to elevate, or to shift, or to make a better decision. So
for sure.
it's just my thought process.
Very good. Very good.
But yeah,
that's the way to end it.
That's a good end. Thank you
Count
so much.
Count it all joy.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
see y'all
you
next
guys.
Monday. And we like I said, we open this forum up for feedback and for any questions and things like that. We see that we don't really have much questions or anything like that from you guys, so we appreciate y'all. Like we said, if there's anything that we missed, anything that you guys might feel like we can touch on or revisit or whatever, just shoot us a DM or leave a comment.
Period.
That's that. We're hollering.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for the hearts on TikTok. We appreciate y'all.
All right. Count it all joy. Count it all joy.
Count it all joy.
It could be worse.
Ooh, Jesus, count it all joy.
It could be worse. YouTube. It could be worse.